Would you believe it? Can you even stinking believe it? It's 4 o'clock. It's not 3 in the morning. It's not midnight. It's time for a responsibly timed workout. So, one thing that I notice with when I diet down is that I kind of work out at less specific times in a way, because I'm not so worried about making sure that I'm like perfectly carved up and I've eaten like 4 or 3, whatever, solid meals already. Because, I'm not so concerned about being absolutely full of carbs and super crazy energized for the workout because I'm in a deficit. Right? It's just not the nature of the training. So instead of waiting until like 7 or 8 to make sure I really got a good amount of food and like I feel ready to push it, I kind of just lift whenever, It doesn't require so much forethought in a way. Because what's more important in a diet, I would say, and this is kind of just a little bit of opinion, like what I think about, it's not so much the, like, to make sure that every lift is absolutely, completely perfect. You're like completely prepared. You've eaten all your food. Really, all I'm trying to say is you don't have to have so much food in your system to have a good workout. And that's kind of I don't even think it's an awesome mindset for me to have when I'm bulking up, because usually it makes me delay when I lift. But I usually wait until I've had a couple of solid meals in me before going to the gym. Whereas now, if I've got like an hour and a half break between classes, midday, I've only had like 900 calories, but I'm properly hydrated. I'm very well rested. Pre-workout's coursing through my veins as we speak. A little mix of hostility and bloodshot. So I'm ready. I'm ready. I'm ready to I'm ready to curl some weights. I'm ready to tricep push down some weights. And then a few things in between. But even though now I'm dieting down and like the whole point of my weight end goal is like changing, now I'm trying to get lighter and leaner, not bigger and stronger. I'm still going to do the same basic workout. It's still going to be push downs and curls and dips and preachers and like maybe bicep biased pull downs. The training doesn't change much, because whether you're bulking, maintaining, or dieting, the whole point of the training is to stimulate the intended muscle with a reasonable amount of volume. And reasonable is kind of a wide term, but a reasonable workout. If somebody told you to do 6 sets for biceps, you might think that's a little bit on the lower end. And if someone told you to do 15 sets for biceps, you'd probably think that's a little bit on the higher end. But kind of around there is about right. So whether I'm trying to bulk up or cut down, I'm still going to push it as hard as I can. And I can kind of understand the logic. Like, it makes sense to say, well, I'm not eating so much food, so I'm not going to have as much energy to recover. I should train easier. I should train lighter and not go so hard. And I mean, I see what you're saying, but that just does not fucking connect with me, Like, if you take it easy, if you back off on the fucking stimulus, if you turn down the gas, you're going to start losing strength, man. Like, your body is going to naturally adapt to whatever stimulus it's fucking being faced with. So if you keep curling reasonably heavy, doing some good heavy sets, you're going to stay strong. You're going to maintain the muscle you've got in your body. This is kind of a bro science-y way to explain it, but it's like your body's not going to say, oh, I only have to curl the 30-pound dumbbells now. I can back off. I can get a little bit weaker. I can conserve my energy. Whereas if you keep curling the 50s, it's going to say, holy crap, I can't get any smaller now. I got to keep curling the 50s. It's like you're going to match whatever stimulus you're fucking getting hit with. So if you physically notice that you start a diet and your training recovery has been hindered like substantially to the point where you finish like a hard leg day and you are absolutely fucking cooked and you cannot like you're wrecked. The next day you are not even close to recovered at all. You got to take a rest day. And then maybe even another one after that. If for whatever reason that was the case, then sure, I would get it. Maybe back off. I'm kind of doing that in a way. I'm going to be a bit more prone to cut out really big compound movements just because, the stimulus to fatigue ratio, any Mike Isertal fans must love that phrase. It's just not there, so I'm not going to do a ton of crazy heavy squats if I'm going to get a pretty comparable quad stimulus doing more leg extensions and lighter sissy squats and stuff like that. So I'm kind of conserving more of like my whole body's energy and limiting my fatigue. But you should still fucking push the training as hard as you can recover from. And to stay underneath of that line, like to stay in a level of training intensity that's so low that you know for a fact you can fucking come back the next day and do it again with no problem, I think you're missing the point, right? Like, this is a classic comment response I see all the time when anybody says, like, you should fucking push every set as hard as you can. Every gym session, you should really fucking push it. Of course, if you need a rest day, if you need a light day, then take one. That's not what I'm saying. But for the most part, you should fucking push the envelope with your fucking intensity. The absolute worst thing that's going to happen is you're going to say, whoa, that was too much. Like, I'm really fucking tired. That was not, maybe I shouldn't do the Tom Platz leg day every week. Right? Probably a little too much volume, just too much workload. I got to back off a little bit. And then, sure, you could reduce the, intensity, maybe the volume to the training to an amount which you can recover from. But there is no cue, there is no indicator that you're not training hard enough, right? You're never going to go into a workout, go easy, and then, you're going to be extra sore the next day. And that's going to be your cue, like, oh, I didn't train hard enough. I feel like shit. Keeping your foot off the gas training-wise, it's pretty comfortable. You don't have to really push it. You don't have to take a set to, a real high level of exertion. You can recover super easily because you didn't really stimulate jack. So, look, man, I think that's where a lot of people are. I think the bell curve of training intensity is left-centered, man. More people are taking it easy on their workouts than there are people who are fucking pushing it. And correlation does not always mean causation, but I think that fucking reflects in the fact that there are less dogs out there than there are just kind of, and I'm not like making fun of how people look, but in the context of like fitness, there are different levels to it. So, more low level builds, they're just fucking more prevalent, man. I mean, that's how everything is. We're talking fucking, we're talking the food chain level stuff, right? There's not as many predators as there are prey. So, if you can tell that you're lifting at the exact same fucking intensity as the guy next to you, and he's not really pushing it that hard, in what world would you ever expect to look any better than him? Not gonna happen. Not going to freaking happen. Now, if you see a guy who's fucking yoked in your gym, and he's fucking, you can tell he's pushing it as hard as he can. If you start training like him a little bit more, and you can kind of begin to match that intensity with more and more of your sets over time, I don't think that it's a fucking crazy statement to say that you're probably going to get better results. I like bodybuilding, I like weightlifting, muscle growth, the whole process, because it's so simple. It is such a fucking simple hobby. Well, not hobby, activity. Like for you to do a fucking sport, or you're trying to learn a very specific skill. It requires a lot of fucking thought. You're manually like adjusting your techniques and stuff. Just it's kind of tricky. You got to be on your A game all the time. Stay in the zone. But with weightlifting, it's not so precise. All you have to do is grab a pair of fucking 40s and say, I'm going to curl these until I cannot curl them anymore. Like it's just that simple. And then it's no longer a question of like your, you know, curling skill in a sense. Of course, somebody could do a more effective curl than somebody else by kind of contracting a little bit harder. That's not what I'm saying. But it's not a question of anything like that. It's really just how hard can you push it, So that's all I got to say there. Hopefully it's not too packed. Let's go get an arm pump. Let's go get a veiny, freaky, nasty arm pump. I ran out of words to say. Let's just do it. A little bit of a rush.
Yes, we'll go. Okay, yeah.
Probably two more. Similar style. I'll do this set underhanded. Because, honestly, apart from just a straight up like straight bar or a D handle doing single arm pushdowns, I think two really long D handles like this, it's got to be my favorite rope attachment. Because I can go overhand like a normal pushdown and still get that separating effect at the bottom with the rope. And I can go underhand and then it feels way more ropish. Not that you asked, but if I had to pick one special attachment I like for triceps, this is probably it. Very versatile. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. One more. And then we can move on to something else. Okay. Let's do some dips.
Back when it was spring break on campus, I was using these.
A little too heavy. Let's go lighter on this next one. That's enough of that. Those were good sets, but this dip machine isn't really clicking for me today. Let's do a little something else, but tries are nearly done. I fucking already feel pretty close to wrecked. I think two sets of straight bar. Now we're ready for curls. If I make it good enough, then I know I'll be done right here. Okay. I gotta do a superset. That was not real failure. There we go. Yeah. Okay. That's better. That's enough. Time to curl. Some single arm machine curls will feel good. I warmed up planning on doing heavy dumbbell curls, but as I was doing them, like, it didn't feel bad or anything, but something about it just made me think, I think it's gonna feel better for me to start with a machine like this. You know, a little bit more squeeze focused. You can't build up so much momentum just because of the nature of the cables and the stack. I don't know if I can explain it better than that. It's just kind of a fucking instinct type move. But either way, let's go. Weak side first. Okay. Okay. A few more like that. Two more probably, just by guessing. Okay, that's maybe a drop set. Okay. 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 I like this machine too much to move on. Let's do an alternating set. Maybe 5 reps on one side, 5 on the left, back and forth until I pretty much hit failure or a level of fatigue where I can say, that was a good one. And then we can move on to something else. Maybe easy bar preacher. I'll have to see what I want to do and what's open. And when those two things combine, that'll be my next move. Yeah. Okay. One more, then drop set. Okay. Okay. It's kind of a longer endurance-y kind of set. Still, I can tell I'm a little more pumped up now than before it. Let's move on to something else. I feel like buys are already fucking cooked. I'll just do a set or two of single arm cable curls. A little bit lighter than those machine curls were, so I'm kind of more squeeze biased. But after these, fuck man, I think arms is complete. A little bit less volume than conventionally. Okay. Okay. Let's pose down. All right, it is fucking packed. This was the only posing spot. It actually looks kind of freaky though. So let's see how we look with a. I mean, I'll be real with you. I couldn't really find a cool spot to pose down for like 15 minutes. I think the pump is diminished, which is probably the last thing I ever want to say before a pump check. But still worth looking at. I would never leave without checking the pump. Are you crazy? I've said some pretty wild things, but that is not one of them. Oh yeah. I mean, I see absolutely no problem with this. Not whatsoever. I'm gonna actually have to fucking pose down here more often. This is fucking solid. Ooh. All right. I don't love posing down right in the middle of everything. So let's get in the car. Now, this is gonna be quick. This is gonna be a rather quick car talk because I'm late for a fucking team meeting. Holy crap. So I gotta go to the house, then put on my big boy pants and go do some science. Go do some real hands-on engineering. That's another thing which is kind of a plus for me from now having already finished the lift, is I get to spend the rest of the day doing whatever. I feel the same way back when I would work in the summer at the city. So it would be like 6:30 to 2:30 was like the actual shift. And then as soon as I was done, or same thing back when I was in high school, as soon as I was done with class, straight to the gym. No coming home and laying down and taking a nap, because once you're down, 9 times out of 10, you're down for a while. I'm not going to say that every time, of course, but, don't forget, an object in motion will stay in motion. And once an object comes to rest, it will more than likely stay at rest. So, just kind of in a, not even efficiency standpoint, but just, consider you've only got so much time in your day, if you're also a little bit fucking just extra busy too, and you got a lot of shit going on, the less downtime you can have between your regular shit and then fitting the gym in, the better. Because you're not going to be late for something if you got to go back to... Really, I'm just trying to say, once you're home, it's probably going to be in your best interest to get your pre-workout, chug some extra water just so you're a little more hydrated. You're going to have a little bit better of a pump, and then get your booty to the gym. Because I can't tell you how many times I've come home from something, and it's like maybe 5 o'clock or 6 o'clock or whatever, and I'm like, all right, I still got to lift. Oh, but I feel a little tired. I'm feeling a little bit lethargic right now. Let's just lay down for a second. Let's just lay down for a second has never been followed by laying down for 1 second and then getting up. It is almost always followed by a fucking 3-hour nap. And then 3 hours of my day has now disappeared. Sometimes I'm just so astonished by people's driving. But, yeah, man. I'd much rather take that nap after the workout. It'll probably be more productive, because I'll actually have a reason to be fucking napping instead of just being kind of feeling just a touch sleepy. Sorry, I cannot focus on talking when this person was driving in front of me. But that's what I'm saying. If you get home from something, just get up. Just freaking get up. But, yeah. Solid arm day. That pump check was not really in full force. That was not fucking full-on Super Saiyan, because that was like 20 minutes. Well, no, it was like 15 minutes after the last set of curls. So biceps were still pretty pumped, but I could tell the tries had kind of flattened out just a touch. So usually I try to rip the pump cover off, as quickly as possible after the lift is over, because your pump will only begin to fade. It's not gonna, you don't finish your workout and then you get extra pumped. No, man. Across the period of time when you're actually doing your working sets from beginning to end, this is probably how it looks. Maybe kind of a diminishing return kind of curve. Like, you're probably halfway to fully pumped, or 3/4 of the way fully pumped, halfway through your lift-ish. And then those last few sets really just add a few more fucking, well, just a touch more size to you. And then starts to shrink down. You start to return back to normal. You start to get humbled. So make use of that time seeing yourself extra big because, well, for one thing, it's just fucking fun. And also, why wouldn't you? You know, who doesn't love checking a fucking pump? So I've said this before. I'll just reiterate it because I'm waiting at this fucking three-way intersection. But what's the point of lifting covered up? Why don't I just train in the cutoff the whole time? Uh, for one thing, at least today, it was a little bit cold in there. I probably wouldn't want to rip this thing off right away, of course. But I kind of like there to be a fucking buildup, you know? I don't want to be like something about it. I don't know if it's just me, but I'd rather just focus on the actual sets that I'm doing and feel myself get gradually more and more pumped. And then when I take the pump cover off, I can see that I'm like just fucking straight up bigger than normal. You know, it's not a gradual exposure because if I'm fucking sleeveless the whole lift, I'm gonna kind of see myself get pumped up over the period of time that the lift takes, and it's not gonna be so abrupt, you know. So something about that I just kind of like. And then in reverse, you can do the same thing. I've done this a few times. I don't remember when it was. I think I got. Oh, I don't remember. I think I was like hurt or something. I'm not sure when this was, but I was dieting down. Or actually, no, you can do this in either case. This is sort of what I would call the monk mode approach, where you cover yourself up for your lift. You know, you get a baggy, long sleeve shirt. I'm talking hoodie, sweatpants. You are fucking concealed to the world. And you do your lift like normal. You get a fucking gnarly pump. And then you leave. And then you freaking leave. You don't check it out. You don't wait till you get home and pose down in the bathroom mirror. Just fucking go home. Wait for it to dissipate. And then repeat. That I have done a few times. More recently, I think it was like 3 bulks ago or something. Or no. It was the first actual bulk that I ever did. So that would have been like 3 years ago ish. 2 years ago? 2.5 years ago? Whatever. So full on bulk, same kind of stuff that I'm doing now. But no pump checks for like 3 fucking months. And then at the end, when I actually did fucking bust out the tank, and it was, it was an arm day. Fucking classic move. And I actually saw my arms fully pumped after a few months of bulking without having seen them before. That was pretty fucking cool. That was fucking larger than life. But kind of a long fucking commitment. So do whatever you want. But actually there's no but. Do whatever you want. So plan now is go home, rinse off real quick, and oh my goodness, I got some schoolwork to do. So I'll come back. This isn't the end. I'll slip a meal in here or something. So I'll see you for whatever that ends up being.